Hello and welcome to Growing Bolder at the National Senior Games presented by Humana. I'm Mark Middleton, and let me say right up front that we're not here to report results. We are here to share inspiration. We're not here to count gold medals or update records. We're here to share a message that can change your life no matter what your age is today and whether or not you ever compete in a single athletic event. There were roughly 12,000 athletes in Fort Lauderdale, ranging in age from 50 to 103, competing in more than 20 different sports, everyone with their own story that's really more interesting and more important than where they finish. These are people who lean into life and then bounce back stronger when faced with the never-ending challenges of life. Everything: heart surgery, joint replacements, obesity, disease, and personal struggles of all kinds. And they've not done it alone. They've done it with the help, support, and encouragement of family, friends, teammates, and competitors, all of whom have learned that it's never too late to make the rest of your life the best of your life. And if you want to keep moving, you have to keep moving. Joining me now are two award-winning journalists and storytellers, Bill Schaefer and Amy Sweezy. And guys, we met thousands of athletes during our 2 weeks at the Games, so we really could have gone in any direction to lead this show. But Bill, I know you're fired up to talk about one of the most important themes that we all saw in Fort Lauderdale.
Listen, something we all could use is inspiration. Because in order for any of us to do better, you've got to know what's possible. So let's start this program with a bit of the unforgettable, just to get you wondering if maybe one day this could be you. Let's take a look at some of the oldest competitors at the Games. On your mark, get set. Let's start on the track, the 100-meter dash. These runners are 85 to 89, and emerging to the front is Roger Vergine of the Villages, Florida. Hard to believe he didn't start running until his 70s.
These are my friends now, even though I don't see them often, it's walk in and see them. It's just like, you saw them last week, even though it might be 6 months.
Come on, Tiny. Madeline Tiny Kazel, also of the Villages, agrees.
I never thought about age. I always did what I really felt that was healthy. I eat healthy, and I take care of myself. At 85, there's not too many people that do that type of thing.
Well, there are at these Games. In fact, it's one of the few competitions where if you're 85, you're kind of on the young side. George Freeman is 90, and he's one of the few to have competed in every National Senior Games. His daughter explains that he's a winner just by being there.
He said, I really want to go, and it was hard. I mean, it's a lot for a 90-year-old to travel. He hasn't traveled in 2 years, but he's here.
All I know is that most 90-year-olds aren't like I am. And the beautiful part is, my great-grandchildren, they think it's super, and they're all runners or walkers, and they're all involved in athletics. I'm setting a good example, I think, for them.
And then there's Mary Kemp. She's 99 years old, and despite dealing with dementia, participating in these Games and being surrounded by all of this support fills her with a sense of accomplishment in a way few other activities can.
Love you so much.
How did you do today?
Oh, I did it. I did it. I did it.
We think if you could do it, maybe we can do it too.
You can. You can. I just do it out of thinking, and you can do it. All of you can do it. You can do it.
There is inspiration everywhere, even in the pool. Montana's Charlotte Sandel is 100 years old, and she believes swimming is a big part of the reason why.
That I made it this far? Good, yeah. Yeah, I've outlived all my ancestors, and I owe it to swimming, I'm sure.
On your mark. Sit.
Roy Englert of Springfield, Virginia is another athlete who's enjoyed competing at every National Senior Games. Here he is running the 400 meters in the 100-year-old age group. And he believes staying active keeps him alive, even though when he first started competing, everyone thought he was crazy.
This was, 40 years ago now, I was about 60. And people said, what in the world are you doing? My mother said, you're too old to run. This was 40 years ago. The camaraderie and the competition. That's a lot of fun. And of course, the older I get, the fewer competitors I have.
That brings us to the oldest competitor at the games, North Carolina's Lindsay Tice, 103, still playing golf and still doing it pretty well. But why at 103 does he keep playing?
I think it's helped to keep me going, helped to keep me healthy, as long as I can hold a stick. Really, I don't plan on quitting.
Well, something else to realize, some of those people have been athletes all their lives, but some have never competed before. And that's the thing, it really is never too late. And it's not a fluke anymore either. There have never been more competitors in their 90s and their 100s. Think about that, because what's possible now has never been possible before. So what about you? There's over 20 events in these games. Which ones would you like to try? And if you're not sure, Mark has a pretty interesting suggestion.
Bill, it's the sport with a funny name, but there's really nothing funny about the exploding popularity of pickleball. It's by far the fastest growing sport in America, with more than 5 million passionate players. For years it was called the new shuffleboard, and it was thought to be a recreational sport for senior citizens. But today there are 2 pro leagues with billionaire investors. There's national sponsors, media deals, coast-to-coast events, and bidding wars for the top players. So what's the attraction? Well, it didn't take us long to figure it out. Tell me about pickleball. It's the fastest growing sport in America. Why?
Because anybody of any age, shape, and size and fitness level can compete.
This is quite a ball game. Very competitive, faster than tennis at the net. And these world-class racquetball and tennis players are pouring into the game. Fastest growing sport in the Americas. And it's a whale of a game.
You can play with your grandkids, you play with your kids. We have 4 generations in my family out there.
Anybody, any age, any level can play. And as you get better, the competition gets more, fierce. Anywhere you go, you'll find pickleball courts. So, it's a game for everybody.
And when the pandemic hit, it seems everybody started playing. Ideal for socially distanced competition, pickleball is described as a cross between tennis, badminton, and table tennis. It's the rare sport that can be easily learned, immediately enjoyed, and constantly challenging, even for the best players.
You can be as competitive as you want. I played the U.S. Open a week ago and won gold in the women's 65 age, and I just love to compete. Just like all these other people here do as well, no matter what age you are.
The National Senior Games was well ahead of the curve when it comes to pickleball mania, adding the sport back in 2012. It quickly became one of its most popular competitions. Nearly 1,500 athletes made it to Fort Lauderdale to compete for a national championship. While pickleball passion is shared by all, its greatest ambassadors may be those in their 80s and 90s who are proving by example that it's a game for life.
I love seeing all the friends that I've made over the years and love making new friends, and I love the competition. I've had 21 surgeries in my life, and I don't want any more, but if I have to have something to be able to get back out on the court, then it'll be done.
I would not be playing tennis at my age. I know that. I look at that big court and I think, oh, how did I ever do it? But pickleball makes it available for everybody because it's well within your reach in your 90s.
It made a huge difference in my life. I think it's why I'm still alive. I mean, my good friends are dying all the time. My best friend died 2 weeks ago, and so I'm convinced I'm still alive because of the game, the sport, and all of that.
Their message, their example, and their love for the game is not going unnoticed.
It just gives me inspiration. It gives me like, my God, I could do it too.
I just hope I'm able to do it when I'm their age. I hope, you see them and they're an inspiration. You know that they did it, I can do it too.
I can do it too. That more than anything explains the growth of pickleball, the sport for everyone of any age, of any ability. Another great indication of its growth is that not long ago there were only a few pickleball equipment manufacturers, but today there are over 300 companies that are making pickleball paddles. To some extent, pickleball and tennis are now engaged in a real estate war, and the numbers are strongly in favor of pickleball. You can fit 4 pickleball courts on 1 tennis court and 4 pickleball players on each court. If you'd like to see where you can play, just go to usapickleball.org and click play. Amy, what's still ahead?
We have so much still to come. Did you know that 2022 marks the 50-year anniversary of Title IX? Up next, we'll bring you the inspirational story of Catherine Switzer, the first woman to officially register and run the Boston Marathon. She jump-started a social revolution with ripples worldwide. That story and so much more is next on Growing Bolder at the 2022 National Senior Games.
Is it me, or does everyone auditioning for this health insurance commercial look the same?
It's not you. Health insurance companies see us all the same.
Well, that's not good.
Well, except Humana. They see me. After my back surgery, Humana sent a home health nurse for 5 days, helped me get set up, showed me how to manage my meds, even sent me a week's worth of healthy frozen meals.
Get out.
Good idea.
Better care begins with listening. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Sadie?
Connecting with Grandma has never been easier. Introducing the GrandPad, a simple way to video call the seniors in your life. It's set up and ready to use right out of the box.
I'm never away from my kids. I just feel like I'm in contact with them all the time.
When you're alone, you're not alone. You just go push a few buttons and everybody's there.
Learn more at grandpad.net or call 888-615-5871.
Good night, Grandma Joan.
Welcome back to Growing Bolder at the 2022 National Senior Games. This was the scene at the flame arrival ceremony at Las Olas Oceanside Park, where Catherine Switzer was honored as the final torchbearer and lit the cauldron to officially open the games. Catherine Switzer may not be a household name, but she should be. She is a trailblazer who defied the sexist limitations and expectations set on women. A brave pioneer who refused to take no for an answer, even when men physically tried to stop her from competing in organized sports. Through her actions, she has opened up the path for millions of females to achieve dreams of their own. Switzer was just 20 years old in 1967 when she became the first woman to register and run the Boston Marathon. Less than 2 miles in, race director Jock Semple attacked her, trying to rip her bib number off and forcibly remove her from the race. Her boyfriend knocked him out of the way, and Switzer kept running, and she's never stopped.
When this happened, I was terrified. I really was terrified. I said, listen, Arnie, I'm going to finish this race on my hands and my knees if I have to. Because I knew if I didn't finish the race, first of all, I would regret it the rest of my life. And I knew I could finish it. But I also knew that other women would not believe a woman could do it unless I finished. And that's what everybody wanted me to do, was to quit. I often say that when I first ran that Boston Marathon, I started it as a girl, but I finished it as a grown woman, because it gave me a real life plan. And that life plan was to somehow create opportunities for other women to run.
And that's just what Switzer did, founding the Avon International Running Circuit in 1977, creating running programs in 27 different countries with more than 1 million women around the world involved. That worldwide participation played a big part in helping convince the International Olympic Committee to include the women's marathon in the 1984 Olympics. Switzer is still an impassioned advocate for women today through her 261 Fearless Foundation, empowering women with opportunities around the world. She still runs and competed in both the 5K and the 10K at this year's Senior Games in Fort Lauderdale, along with her husband, Masters record-setting runner and author, Roger Robinson.
Do you have goals when you're in a race like this, or just to have fun?
Well, it's not just to have fun. It's also to keep my fitness. A goal always gives you a focus. That's important to remember, even if it's like losing weight or just adding a half a mile to your run or whatever. But the important thing today for me is measuring my recovery. I have shingles, and I'll come out of that, I hope. But my measurement for fitness is always my run.
While Switzer might not have made the podium in Fort Lauderdale, the athlete, author, and advocate's legacy and influence were evident all around her, in the other women enjoying the opportunity to run and compete, many whom were denied that access before Title IX.
These people are all products of the same generation that I came from, and they know what it was like to have hard work or to miss opportunities. And so to be here with them and share that experience is great. I don't have children quite on purpose, and I always said, listen, every woman out there running is one of my children, and I always feel that. Even driving along in the car, I see a woman running, I say, yeah, she's one of mine. But the point is this, is we all need to carry the torch forward, and there's a lot to do in the world. Sports is for everybody, and it is all about diversity, inclusion, and equality and respect. These are things that we have learned, and the National Senior Games presented by Humana are a wonderful opportunity for everybody at any age to reclaim the athlete within.
Catherine's example is one that is etched not only in sports history, but women's history. It's American history. And while the image of the man trying to pull her out of the Boston Marathon will always be famous, it's these images that will continue her legacy. The countless other female athletes who now get to compete, who get to do what they love and continue to play sports into their later years because of what women like Catherine Switzer have done. We celebrate female athletes everywhere, especially on this 50-year anniversary of Title IX.
That's one of the things that makes the National Senior Games so great. You'll find everything from competitors who have their names etched in history to those who are just glad to be there. And then there are some who have faced so many obstacles, who have had to overcome so many setbacks that you can't believe they made it there at all. The kinds of challenges that we all have to face in life. People who aren't just surviving, but thriving. They're the ones who may be the most inspiring of all. At 57 years old, Tien Nguyen was in the best shape of his life. Part of the reason was volleyball. His Cav Buff Rock team from Buffalo and Rochester, New York is always one of the best. It's why Tien couldn't believe it when he felt a heaviness in his chest that scared him enough to go see a doctor.
And he goes, we have to schedule for an emergency heart surgery. I was sitting at 59 and I'm 165, 18 BMI, and I was like, me? This is shocking. I couldn't believe it. And what? I did everything right that I do in my life, and I'm here sitting here.
Volleyball saved your life.
And working out, being active, work out every day, cardio, and I'm still doing it.
What he learned was right on target, especially for Sherry Bryan Haber. Now, you can't do every sport from a wheelchair, but when Sherry found archery, she hit the bullseye.
So I was born with a form of spina bifida. I thought I was going to suck at this, and look at me, I'm actually good. And people with disabilities frequently underestimate what they're capable of.
When Andy Layton was diagnosed with Parkinson's, he went into a serious depression, thinking that his life was basically over. But his wife refused to let him give up, pushed him into pickleball, and everything's changed for them both.
Everybody out there, your listeners and viewers, probably have things that they're dealing with too. But if you have, a good support person like my wife Helen, and people around you who are in Andy's army, my group of followers, it makes everything so much better.
It's opened up Andy's world for the world of Parkinson's, people with Parkinson's. It's opened up my world with for the people with cancer. And so I'm actually now teaching people with cancer how to play pickleball because it's been so empowering for me.
Empowering is exactly the feeling that working out, training, and competing can result in. And not just physically, as triathlete Maria Schreiber definitely attests to.
It's going to get you through a lot of hard times. I've had some really dark times, in my life where things like happened to me, and I always would just get up. I would, even if I was like in my darkest day and just felt like, oh, this is a terrible day, I would strap on my shoes and put on my gear. And maybe it took me an hour to get out the door, but I would push myself out the door. My husband left me. I had 3 little kids. I'm like, I'm just going to bawl on the run. I can cry in the woods. And then I just cried on the, just like get it out of my system. Like, this is so unfair. And then you just kind of pick yourself up each day.
Someone else who had to pick herself up was Diette Sauer, who found her salvation in competitive swimming.
I quit smoking and drinking, which I thought was going to make me healthier, but it ended up leading me straight to food, so I blew up to about 250 pounds. I couldn't swim a lick, and it was really, I don't even understand why I showed up. And there was a special coach there that said, I will teach you. You can do this. She encouraged me, and she changed my life. Here I am, I'm having a blast.
You see, the best kept secret is none of these people are feeling 100%. But instead of being limited by their aches and their pains, or instead of focusing on what's been lost, they are living in the present, exploring what's possible now, and most important, showing the rest of us that surviving and thriving can be hard, but exciting, challenging, and worth every bit of the effort. And sometimes it can lead to friendships that last a lifetime. Mark?
After being postponed for a year due to the pandemic, the Fort Lauderdale Games were billed as a reunion for the ages, and it certainly was that for a group of friends who reunited more than 4 decades after an incredible run to the finals of the Florida State High School Basketball Championship.
Yo-yo diets. Lose weight, regain it. Calibrate is different. It's a sustainable antidote to an unsustainable cycle. Vicky lost 22% of her body weight with Calibrate. Meda's weight got stuck. It wasn't her fault. Now it's about biology, not willpower. Calibrate members get real results that matter, including results that can't be measured. Medication, coaching, lifestyle tweaks. Lose at least 10% of your body weight or your money back.
Connecting with Grandma has never been easier. Introducing the GrandPad, a simple way to video call the seniors in your life. It's set up and ready to use right out of the box.
I'm never away from my kids. I just feel like I'm in contact with them all the time.
When you're alone, you're not alone. You just go push a few buttons and everybody's there.
Learn more at grandpad.net or call 888-615-5871.
Good night, Grandma Joan.
We're not made to withdraw from life. We're made to seize each moment and to value every breath. We're made to be bold, to take risks, and pursue our passions. Don't identify with limitation. Embrace possibility. Stop growing older. Start growing bolder. Find your what's next at growingbolder.com.
Is it me, or does everyone auditioning for this health insurance commercial look the same?
It's not you. Health insurance companies see us all the same.
Well, that's not good.
Well, except Humana. They see me. After my back surgery, Humana sent a home health nurse for 5 days, helped me get set up, showed me how to manage my meds, even sent me a week's worth of healthy frozen meals.
Get out.
Good idea.
Better care begins with listening. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Sadie?
Keep moving. You don't have to be a superstar, you just have to take it one day at a time.
Exercise is the key to good health. I firmly believe that.
It gives me focus in other parts of my life, teaches you to be still in the storms.
If I didn't do what I'm doing, I'd probably be in a wheelchair somewhere. And I'm not ready to give up.
It's not necessarily about trying to win a medal. It's about learning more about yourself and what you can do in the rest of life.
Welcome back to Growing Bolder at the National Senior Games presented by Humana. You know, all of us who played organized sports as a kid can look back fondly and remember our favorite teams that we were a part of. And we wonder, What if we got the gang back together to compete once again? Well, that's exactly what the Challengers did 42 years after becoming state finalist in girls basketball.
1, 2, 3, let's go!
After a year-long pandemic postponement, the 2022 National Senior Games were framed as a reunion for the ages. The thrill of reconnecting with friends, teammates, and the tight-knit community of Masters athletes was felt everywhere in Fort Lauderdale, but perhaps nowhere more than on the basketball court.
I wouldn't rather take the court with any other girls in my high school, the homies from 1980, and now 42 years later, we've named our team Challengers 6.0 because we're not getting older, we're getting better.
You're not getting older, you're getting
bolder.
All right, now you got it.
The Challengers didn't just play together in 1980, they were state finalists, playing right here in Broward County. And even though they're now spread out, living in multiple states, they've returned to their old stomping grounds to reconnect with one another and the sport they once loved.
The Challengers are back.
We're back. We're back strong.
How does it feel to be back?
Feels great. Feels great to be out with the girls from 40 years ago and just reconnecting with everybody. It's awesome.
It feels really good because we all loved each other. We had each other's backs during high school, and it's just great to see everybody again.
And it's not just a reunion of teammates. Two of their cheerleaders pulled out their old pom-poms as well.
Did you guys practice a little? Do you still have the same moves?
We practiced in the car driving here. I can't remember what I ate for dinner last night, but I can remember a cheer from, 1970 something.
So what's the moral of the story? What do you say to people out there that might be sitting on the couch that have stopped doing stuff and they see you now? What do you tell them?
Get up, you can do it. Friendships never die. Get your old team together.
The sport allows us to reignite the athlete within us, and this is my time, my time to just rediscover who I was. I was an athlete from age 8 till age 20. So that's the beauty of sports. It brings people together. We would not be reunited. We'd still be just connecting on Facebook if it wasn't for sports.
Sure, the Challengers might have lost a step or two in some of their shooting touch, but they definitely have not lost their love for one another and their love for the game of basketball. Their lesson is a great one for all of us. Sometimes the best way forward is simply to look back to the passions and the people of our past. All right, for now, let's check back with Bill Schaefer, who has an emotional story from the track.
Yeah, sometimes before you can be a friend to someone else, you have to be at peace with yourself. We met someone at the games whose story was heartbreaking. His name is Willie Sprawl, 64 years old, and he was living in chronic pain. He was over-medicated, felt like he was in a fog, couldn't ever see it getting any better, and he wanted to die. Until these games gave him something nobody else could. They gave him hope, right at the time all of his had run out.
The reason I'm out here, because while in the Army, I cracked my spine, my pelvis, jumping out of aircraft. And I got to the place I couldn't run one step. I was on all these narcotics, walking with the cane, and couldn't think clearly, threw the cane down. I almost committed suicide during that time. If this assistant upstairs in Walmart Hospital hadn't called me and told me that I could come up and see them because they had denied me to start with, I'd have took my car and ran in the hospital that day. But he came up and talked with me, and then I went down to the track, started walking. I saw a flyer says the Senior Games, and it sparked something in me, and I say, I can run again. So I started walking for 2 weeks. The games were in 3 weeks. And so in that third week, I ran the 50, 100, and 200, and I won all three. And I've been running since. And I won't give up. Even though I still have sciatica, I have chronic migraines, this is my sanctuary. This is where I have my quiet and peaceness. Sometimes it brings me to tears. Sometimes it brings me to tears when I think about it, of what I've been through and what I have to overcome.
So Willie, what's your message for everybody watching now?
My message is that no matter how hard it gets, no matter how bad it may seem to you, there's somebody out there that's in worse condition than you, okay? Just pick your butt up, do what you can, walk a little bit, keep your mind straight, stay away from the pills if you can, and just drive on. Just be hard and be focused and tell somebody, at least one person a day, that you love them.
Well, we love Willie for sharing his story, for reminding us that everybody counts, and for encouraging you to do what you love. Oh yeah, and helping motivate the next guy up, well, that's pretty cool too, just like Willie Sprawl.
There were athletes from all 50 states at the 2022 National Senior Games, but one community, one town, had far more competitors than any other, and they returned home with a record hardware haul. Up next, what's behind the remarkable success of athletes from the Villages, Florida.
Nice game, Minnesota! Thank you, Blue! Thank you, fans! Go Eagles!
Join our powerful tribe of like-minded men and women. Become a Growing Boulder Insider today and gain free access to TV episodes, magazines, exclusive stories, resources, and so much more. Just head to growingboulder.com/sign-up.
Yo-yo diets. Lose weight, regain it. Calibrate is different. It's a sustainable antidote to an unsustainable cycle. Vicky lost 22% of her body weight with Calibrate. Metta's weight got stuck. It wasn't her fault. Now it's about biology, not willpower. Calibrate members get real results that matter, including results that can't be measured. Medication, coaching, lifestyle tweaks. Lose at least 10% of your body weight or your money back.
Everyone auditioning here looks the same.
Health insurance companies see us all the same, except Humana. They see me. After my back surgery, Humana sent a home health nurse for 5 days and a week of healthy frozen meals.
Get out.
Good idea.
Humana.
The secret sauce is that we're all just really good friends. We go out to eat together. Most of our wives are here.
Oh, the friendship. It's the people. It's the people.
I just love to meet people.
We're all different ages and different abilities. We're all friends. It's a great family we have here.
Team sports, that's what team sports are about, is the camaraderie, the social life, and then this huge activity all day long.
Welcome back to Growing Boulder at the National Senior Games presented by Humana. The National Senior Games is the largest multi-sport qualifying event in the world with more competitors than the Olympics. Athletes come from all 50 states and Canada, and there's one community, town, or city that has more competitors than anywhere. It's the Villages, Florida. The Villages sent more than 300 athletes to Fort Lauderdale, and they returned with 154 medals. That's more than 46 states. We wondered, what's the secret to their success? We first became intrigued by the success of athletes from the Villages at the 2019 National Senior Games in New Mexico. Tell us what it is about the Villages lifestyle that gets so many of you people excited.
It's so easy to be active. You don't have to call anybody and make arrangements for a court time. You just show up and there's 20 people there to play with.
We continued following them at the Florida Senior Games, the Villages Senior Games, and finally, the National Senior Games. We met athletes in more than a dozen sports from age 50 to 97, and the keys to their success became apparent.
We're able to get access to the track 3 times a week, and most high school tracks people can't get on.
We get together and work out, and you know, it's nice to have people around, and it's nice to have coaches too. And we do have a lot of coaches to help. A lot of people don't have those, you know, the facilities and the coaching.
Well, we have good coaches. There's a little bit of science to the swimming, and so we try to learn how to be more efficient in the water.
They can do more than they think they can. All they got to do is try. We have a new theme this year. It's called We Win or We Learn. We never lose.
Access to first-class facilities and quality coaching are important, but they believe their biggest advantages are supportive teammates and a community-wide culture that encourages healthy lifestyle.
And I see it a lot in the Villages. You have to take care of your health. That's number one. You're going to have a miserable old age if you don't keep active and, you know, in pretty reasonable shape and keep doing the things that you like to do.
People are excited about being together on a team, and
being healthy. That's really the biggest part of it. Everybody I play with is very active and extremely healthy.
It's like one big family, and even if you don't bowl well, it's fun. You go out afterwards, we have dinner, whatever. It's a great experience.
With so many like-minded athletes, there is always support, encouragement, and competition.
For almost 20 years now, John and I have been in the same age group, but he catches me because I'm 97, he's 95, so every 3 years he whips my tail. And he always does it just by a little bit. I break my can every year, but John wins. But he only lost once. He got disqualified.
And I try to be a really good teammate, be supportive of my fellow team, and cheer them on.
And if they do have a setback, they bounce back. 74-year-old Dave Jarvis was back in the pool less than 3 months after quadruple bypass surgery.
Most of the athletes that I know, especially on the swim team here, they all have positive attitudes. And it's more of a I can than I can't. And just, you don't want to listen to people telling you what you can't do.
They inspire one another, and their example inspires others.
Age is no factor. I mean, we're seeing 95-year-old men swimming here today. I mean, that's incredible. I aspire to be them when I'm that age.
So what's the secret to their success? Great facilities, quality coaching, competition, camaraderie, and a community-wide culture that encourages them to keep moving forward while always giving back.
I'm in a group here in the village that's called AOK, Act of Kindness. You do something, you get up in the morning, you look in the mirror, and you say, you're going to do something nice today. You're going to do something right. You got to have some goals, and that's the one.
The village's success speaks to the importance of community for all of us. In fact, when it comes to healthy aging, research has now proven that your zip code is more important than your genetic code. 60% of our health is determined solely by where we live. We don't all live in a community like the villages, but we can learn from its example. We can encourage one another. We can join teams, start walking groups, and we can hold one another accountable to get and then stay engaged. All right, let's check in with Amy Sweezy for what's coming up.
Thanks, Mark. After the break, we are taking a look at the newest sports that were introduced at this year's event, cornhole and beach volleyball. Don't go anywhere as Growing Bolder at the National Senior Games continues right after this.
Is it me or does everyone auditioning for this health insurance commercial look the same?
It's not you. Health insurance companies see us all the same.
Well, that's not good.
Well, except Humana. They see me. After my back surgery, Humana sent a home health nurse for 5 days, helped me get set up, showed me how to manage my meds, even sent me a week's worth of healthy frozen meals.
Get out.
Good idea.
Better care begins with listening. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Sadie?
We're not made to withdraw from life. We're made to seize each moment and to value every breath. We're made to be bold, to take risks, and pursue our passions. Don't identify with limitation. Embrace possibility. Stop growing older. Start growing bolder. Find your what's next at growingbolder.com.
Welcome back to Growing Bolder at the 2022 National Senior Games. This was the 18th edition of this historic event, but it was the first time that cornhole was played as an official sport. The talent and skills on display in Fort Lauderdale were elite, as medals were handed out for men's and women's singles and doubles and mixed doubles competition. Cornhole wasn't the only new sport making headlines at the games. When you think of the sun, the heat, and the stunning views along the coast of South Florida, one sport stands out from the rest: beach volleyball. We dug in on the action at Fort Lauderdale Beach to see why taking this sport to the sand was such an exciting addition to the games.
If you look at the track record, comparing it to indoor, most pro players, they stop playing mid-30s just because it wears and tears your body, right? But then you come to beach, you still have 70-year-olds that are coming out here playing from 8 in the morning to 6 p.m. with no complaints of aches, and they're just enjoying life. Beach volleyball is not a sport, it's a lifestyle.
This is like nothing we imagined. It's just been fun the whole time, and we just can't believe we're here.
I tend to think it's just much more fun because you're always engaged in the game, and then so the game's just really fast in terms of a personal level because you're just always in it.
There's only 2 people, so you have to work your butt off. You get a lot of exercise, and it's easier on the body, I think, because of the hard court, for me anyway, and you're in the sun.
It's just absolutely gorgeous. It is at home and it is also here in Fort Lauderdale, so we're super excited to be here.
It's got all the components that are being found in research to be very healthy for older athletes right now. That high intensity interval training, and you're doing it in a sand environment, which is, perfect for those older joints.
It's easy to see why this was a perfect fit for Fort Lauderdale. And given the enthusiasm and growth of the sport, maybe we'll see a beach in Pittsburgh. Let's head back to the track now with Bill Schaefer, who saw firsthand how it's more than just medals and records that matter to these Masters athletes.
What is this event really all about?
Oh my God, it's about the competition, friends getting together. We haven't seen each other in years.
And friends you never would have made.
Never would have made if it wasn't for the National Senior Games.
So do your friends look at you and go, are you crazy? Why do you put that much time and effort and money into traveling and going all these places?
My kids always say, Mom, how long are you going to run? And I say, as long as I can run. And
look at the example that you're providing for them.
Yes. My son always says he hits the gym, he works out, that I'm his inspiration.
He's got to keep up with Mom.
Yes.
How proud are you of what you do?
I'm so proud of me because not only my age, but make a sacrifice to be here because today I might not able to be here because so much stuff happened, but the senior game make us go through all of it and make the dream come true. And that's what I came from. No matter what, I need to take at least one medal home.
It gives you a goal. It gives you a reason to keep moving forward. How about you? What do you think the real message of the games is to people that are watching?
I think it's just important to set a goal and work your best to achieve it. Whatever you do, you're better off than if you've never set the goal. So it's important to set the goal, be active, be healthy, and do your best.
What a great group of runners. Yet another example of how these games are bringing families closer together and helping us all set goals of our own. Now, if you're wondering how you can get in the games yourself, don't go anywhere. Up next, we're leaving Fort Lauderdale and taking you up north to look ahead to next year's competition in Pittsburgh.
Join our powerful tribe of like-minded men and women. Become a Growing Boulder Insider today and gain free access to TV episodes, magazines, exclusive stories, resources, and so much more. Just head to growingboulder.com/sign-up.
Connecting with Grandma has never been easier. Introducing the GrandPad, a simple way to video call the seniors in your life. It's set up and ready to use right out of the box.
I'm never away from my kids. I just feel like I'm in contact with them all the time.
When you're alone, you're not alone. You just go push a few buttons and everybody's there.
Learn more at grandpad.net or call 888-615-5871.
Good night, Grandma Joan.
Everyone auditioning here looks the same.
Health insurance companies see us all the same, except Humana. They see me. After my back surgery, Humana sent a home health nurse for 5 days and a week of healthy frozen meals.
Get out. Good idea.
Humana.
Welcome back to Growing Boulder at the 2022 National Senior Games presented by Humana. This is a look back to 2005 when the games were held in Pittsburgh, one of America's greatest sports cities, and a perfect destination to host the country's best Masters athletes once again. Of course, the event has grown significantly since its first trip to the Steel City, and Pittsburgh is ready to roll out the red carpet and stage what promises to be the best National Senior Games ever. I had a chance to sit down with Jared Bacher, the president and CEO of Visit Pittsburgh, for a preview of what to expect in 2023. Pittsburgh's a great selection because, I mean, as you know better than I, it's not just the 12 or 14,000 competitors that come. They bring their family, they bring their friends, and they all love the competition, but they love to get out. It's a reunion that's beyond sports, and Pittsburgh's the perfect place for that.
It is. The great thing about the way Pittsburgh is set up and the way that the National Senior Games is being organized in the city is a large portion of all of the activities are right downtown. So it's a very walkable downtown. From one corner to the next is about 15 to 20 minutes by walk. There is something for everyone in Pittsburgh. And I know a lot of people say that about a lot of different cities, but Pittsburgh is true to that word. So when people come to Pittsburgh, if they're interested in arts and culture, we have everything from the world famous Andy Warhol Museum, also in the downtown area. We also have the beautiful August Wilson Center, which is right downtown. Our food scene is unreal. It offers such a unique, diverse perspective of cuisines from all around the world. Because of our heritage of people coming to live in Pittsburgh from all over the world, they've brought a lot of different culinary legacy with them. And then, of course, we're a sports city. So checking out a ball game at PNC Park, which we're going to be in Pittsburgh in July of 2023, so baseball season will be well underway. And then, of course, you have to ride an incline up to Mount Washington and check out the whole city skyline.
Above and beyond the fact that the games are coming to Pittsburgh or that they're here, I mean, well, what should people learn from what's happening in this movement?
The biggest lesson for me with the Senior Games is that we never stop living our lives. We never give up on being healthy. We never give up on wellness, whether it's physical or mental. We never give up on trying something new. We want to continue to compete. We want to continue to be part of a community. Life continues on, and I think the Senior Games represent exactly that way of living, is to continue to grow, to continue to be a better version of yourself. That's what the Senior Games represents to me. That's my biggest takeaway.
The time to start planning your trip to Pittsburgh is right now. The 2023 National Senior Games will be an event unlike any other in one of our country's greatest cities. Plan your trip today by going to sportspittsburgh.com. Now, one athlete that is sure to be there has inspired men and women of all ages, all shapes and sizes for years. Vivian Stansel has overcome being orphaned, divorce, poverty, obesity, heart disease, and total blindness. She turned her life around when she faced her greatest fear and jumped into a swimming pool. Now 75, Vivian is one of the most inspirational swimmers on any pool deck. For her attitude, her example, and her ability to inspire others, she's been named a Humana game changer.
I was 19 years old with 2 kids when I learned about my eyesight. I was 320 pounds. I had breathing problems. I had walking problems. And I had a heart murmur. All of that is gone now. The doctor told me I was gonna die at 60 if I didn't lose the weight. A coach took me to the deep water and told me to jump off the deck. I stood on the deck crying. He said, I told you I'm not gonna let you drown. And I jumped in. I said, this is not too bad. Since I started swimming, I have lost 116 pounds totally. I feel really good. I want my grandchildren to know what their grandmother is doing. And when they look at me, they say I can do it.
Is it me or does everyone auditioning for this health insurance commercial look the same?
It's not you. Health insurance companies see us all the same.
Well, that's not good.
Well, except Humana. They see me. After my back surgery, Humana sent a home health nurse for 5 days, helped me get set up, showed me how to manage my meds, even sent me a week's worth of healthy frozen meals.
Get out.
Good idea.
Better care begins with listening. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Sadie?
Connecting with Grandma has never been easier. Introducing the GrandPad, a simple way to video call the seniors in your life. It's set up and ready to use right out of the box.
I'm never away from my kids. I just feel like I'm in contact with them all the time.
When you're alone, you're not alone. You just go push a few buttons and everybody's there.
Learn more at grandpad.net or call 888-615-5871.
Good night, Grandma Joan.
I just wanted to offer a sincere thank you to you, the wonderful athletes in the National Senior Games. Yes, high five, handshake, hug, body bump, any of that, it goes out to you. Why? You're defying the odds. You're showing us how to do it. As it relates to that, I believe in this quote, and it's grammatically incorrect, but it's right on point, and that quote is, they become who you be. As you are being, they are becoming. We're watching you, and we're becoming better because of you. You're exuding passion, and passion means pass, I, on. Yeah, you're doing that. You may not think it's being seen, it is, and it's being recognized. And we're becoming who you be.
Welcome back to Growing Bolder at the 2022 National Senior Games. Well, we've seen what a difference it makes if you're lucky enough in your life to have people around you who inspire you. Well, at Growing Bolder, we're pretty lucky to say that our founder and CEO does just that for us. Not only did he cover many of the events, not only did he anchor our daily live streams, but Mark Middleton found the time and the energy and the strength to win 4 gold medals himself in swimming. And he set 2 National Senior Games records along the way. Mark, what was it that made you decide that just covering the games wasn't enough?
Bill, I didn't swim a single lap for 35 years, but the truth is, I was inspired by the kind of examples that we're sharing today, so I got back in. And as anyone who works out regularly will tell you, the results are almost always immediate and then profound. It's great for your physical and your mental health, and I do it because I think it's important to practice what you preach, and I preach from the Book of Boulder on a daily basis. So, Bill, what's the big lesson that you learned from the stories that we've shared today?
Well, here's what I learned. When you're in your prime, it seems like athletics is about ego. How good can I be? How hard can I push? But when you're over 50, athletics is about extending your life, improving the quality, keeping your vitality. And I just hope people come away understanding that this isn't just a competition for older people. It's the beginning of a whole new adventure, a way to boost your physical and mental health and set an example, prove what's possible, and be the inspiration for the people who are important in your life. What about you, Mark?
For me, it's less about the competition and a whole lot more about the camaraderie. It's less about winning and more about simply participating. In fact, it's not even about sports. It's about leaning into challenges and then bouncing back from setbacks. It's about saying yes to life by risking failure. It's about making the kind of daily lifestyle choices that can keep us happy and healthy into our 80s, our 90s, and even 100s. It's about growing bolder. If you want more inspiration, you can watch all of our live daily shows from the Fort Lauderdale Games, view hundreds of individual athlete video features, and listen to our Fountain of Youth podcast by going to growingbolder.com/NSGA. For the entire Growing Bolder team and our friends from Humana, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you in Pittsburgh in July 2023. We leave you with this. The example of Julia Hawkins, who didn't start running until she was 100. This is Julia at the 2021 Louisiana Senior Games, where at 105 years old, she became the oldest athlete ever to run in a sanctioned track and field event, showing us all that if you want to keep moving, you have to keep moving.